Question 14, Part A. Factorise x squared plus 7x. Now, factorise, remember, means find the factors. So the factors of x squared and 7x. Well, x squared, remember, is x times x. 7x means 7 times x. So in both of those things is an x. So put that at the front of some brackets. Because factorise generally means put it into brackets. So, what do you times x by to get x squared? Well, it's x, so x times x. So I'll put an x first, and then what do you times x by to get 7x? A 7. So you put 7, and put a plus in front of it. Part B. Factorise y squared minus 10y plus 16. So this one's a quadratic one, you can tell because it's got a squared there, then it's got a y without a square, and then it's got a bit at the end with no letter at all. So this one's going to go into the double brackets, like that. Y is going to go at the front because y times y gives us the y squared. Oops, just normal y, not y squared. Now, the two numbers here, the rule is that they need to multiply to give the last number, to give 16, and add to give this number in front of the y, minus 10. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to think of two numbers that multiply to give 16. 1 and 16. Now, can you get minus 10? Well, if it was minus 1 minus 16, that would be minus 17. 1 and 16 gives positive 17, so no. So it's going to be something else. So now I'll try 2 and 8. 2 times 8 is 16. Good. That's a minus there. So when you add these numbers together, you get minus 10. Which means they've both got to be negative, because a negative times a negative will give the positive as well. So minus 2 and minus 8 will give 16 when you multiply them, and minus 2 added to minus 8 gives you minus 10. So the two numbers are minus 2 and minus 8. Now with this question, it doesn't matter where the minus 2 and the minus 8 goes. You could put minus 8 there and minus 2 there if you want. Next, part C. Factorise 2t squared plus 5t plus 2. So again, it is a quadratic, so it needs double brackets again. Now, before we had a y times a y. That gave us y squared when you multiplied it. Y times y is y squared. This time you end up with 2t squared, which means one of these has got to have a 2 in front of it. So I'll put a 2t there and a t there, because 2t times t is 2t squared. Now these two numbers here, they will still multiply to give 2, but when you, unlike this one where they multiply to give the last number and add to give this one, when they multiply we want them to give the last one, but when they add, if you were to expand this bracket you would multiply this one by 2 because it's 2t. So you'd do 2t times whatever this is, which would double this number. So that's why we need 2 of these numbers and 1 of that number to add to give the 5. So first of all, think of two numbers that multiply to give 2. Well, there's only 2 possible numbers because 2 is a prime number, so it's 1 and 2. So the two numbers have definitely got to be 1 and 2. The question is, where are they going to go? Well, you put a 1 there and a 2 there. To add to give 5, it's got to be 2 of them and 1 of them. So if that is 1, sorry, if that is 2 and that is 1, you would do 2 plus 1 plus 1, but that's only 4. Which means the 2's got to go here and the 1's got to go there. So it's going to be 1 plus 2 2's. 4 plus 1 gives you the 5, and they're both positive. So if you're not sure why, remember if you had this and you had to expand it, you'd get 2t times 2 times t, which gives 2t squared. 2t times 2 gives you 4t. 1 times t gives you t, and 1 times 2 gives you the 2. Remember the 4t and the 1t would come together to give the 5t. Right, part 2. T is a positive whole number. The expression 2t squared plus 5t plus 2 can never have a value that is a prime number. Explain why. So, remember, 2t squared plus 5t plus 2 is the expression that we started off with. And we factorised it to get that. And remember, that is equal to that. And this means 2t's plus 1 multiplied by t plus 2. So the expression 2t squared plus 5t plus 2, which is the same as this, can never have a value that is a prime number. So no matter what t is, as long as t is a positive whole number, it can never equal a prime number. Explain why. Now remember what prime numbers are. Prime numbers are numbers that can only be divided by itself and 1. And it's got to be itself and 1. That's the rule for prime numbers. So the only way that this can give a prime number when multiplied is if one of these, at least one of these, well, one of these is equal to 1. Now, if t is a positive whole number, can either of those be 1? Well, no, they can't, because let's say that was 1, well, this whole thing would be 3, and if that was 1, this whole thing would be 2 1s plus 1, which is also 3. So you cannot get 1. Therefore, you cannot get a prime number. So, that expression, the expression, is always a product of two whole numbers and both are always greater than 1.